Lord Jesus, we do not know what the future holds. Yet we do know who holds our future. Do not leave us to our own devices, Lord. Keep working within us. Keep overcoming the evil of ourselves with your good, and keep loving us into your promised future. Amen. Have you ever had something terrible happen to you and then seen or experienced that horrible thing turn wonderful? I'll give you my own example. At my marriage's start, Brett and I purchased a very tiny 3-bedroom ranch, and we loved many things about that place. We loved the original 1950s pink and black, remember that trend? Bathroom tile, yes? We loved the praying mantis, who every year would annually birth a new brood of babies on our holly bush. But my secret thing that I loved more than anything else was the white picket fence surrounding our yard. You see, I am from Long Island, from a suburb full of fences that allowed neighbors and my family to come and go, and enabled us to never know one another. One day, walking out onto our back deck, I found my husband tearing down the fences. No check-in first. Brent was full of pride. I was horrified. Theologian G.K. Chesterton cautions, whenever you remove any fence, always pause long enough to ask why it was put there in the first place. I immediately exclaimed, Brett, what are you doing? Those fences give us privacy. No intrusions. But my husband, who hails from the land of Ohio, a place and space lacking in fences, held a different view. We need to see our neighbors. Get to know them. Joseph Newton wrote, people build too many walls and not enough bridges. I've learned marriage means speaking the power of 3 regularly. Yes, dear, you're right. I'm sorry. I got to say those words again and again when the destruction of old fences resulted in the construction of new relationships. Our next-door Indian neighbors fed Brent exotic curry dishes every time I left for a business trip. Vietnamese neighbors invited us to their son's wedding, and every spring I still receive a photo of the fig trees, which never fruited when we were there, but started when we left, that Brent planted. From the single mom neighbor who I just texted yesterday, whose son I met at 2 and now is 22 who knew us well, who played in our yard and stole ice pops regularly from our freezer. You know, a clergy friend of mine just offered her parish a deal. Block any hymn from church you don't like for 365 days with a single donation of $500. One person paid for Amazing Grace to vanish for an entire year, while another so endeared to the hymn countered with $1,000 back to put it back in action. Friends, this is the way of the world. A restaurant one person likes that another hates. That pop song that makes you smile, another thinks totally vital. The outcome of any political election will bring joy and hope to some, deep depression and fear to others. This is a mysterious truth. How what one boasts beautiful, another boasts horrific. And such is the way with today's tale of Jesus and his friends, both, notice, exiting the temple and having totally different reactions. The disciples oohing and eyeing as bowled over as Red Riding Hood. Teacher, what large stones! What large buildings the temple has! Isn't it beautiful? Really not surprising the disciples reacted this way, since the historian Josephus did describe the temple's facade as covered with massive plates of gold, and told how there was a large golden vine with golden fruit hung over the inner sanctum's door. Talmudic tradition even asserts he who has not seen the temple of Herod has never in his life seen a truly beautiful building. Bling! Beauty! Bigness! This is what the disciples saw. This is what they were in awe of. Then there was Jesus, who seemingly has woken up on the wrong side of the bed, preaching his longest sermon in Mark, charmingly nicknamed the Little Apocalypse. Not what you want to hear in church, as it's completely and totally depressing, scary, full of fire and brimstone. With strong words, Jesus is trying to get across to his followers then and to us now what really matters. To get us to think about what is passing and what is permanent. And as usual, Mark's disciples are super dim, asking all the wrong questions. Jesus, when's the end? What's the exact date so we can cancel our Netflix subscriptions? We'll have our bags packed, our swords sharpened. We'll be ready. How will we know? What will we see? Forget asking, how should we be when the end comes? Thank God, Jesus' seeing and Christ's understanding of how God works is so much deeper than ours. This is completely evident in how Jesus operates. Remember, from ministry's start, Jesus saw that the world's heart did not beat to the kingdom's drum. Jesus, from beginning to end, tirelessly worked to tear down fences, begin. And Jesus is always reminding people what is real and what is not, what matters and what doesn't. Remember only 2 chapters ago when Jesus turned over the temple's tables, said to the merchants, "This sanctuary is not a mall, but a place of prayer." Religious authorities of that time wanted religious practices, rituals to stay static. They attempted to trick Jesus with questions about taxes, a widow marrying multiple people. What's the greatest commandment? They gouged people for money, for sacrifices. And Jesus was there to make them aware enough was enough. Beware of anyone who uses their religion to move up, to show off. Don't stare at all those guys wandering around the temple, clanking coins in various donation drops. Stop navel-gazing and admiring yourself. Stop admiring this big building. Look instead at that widow. Be like her. Give everything you can, and when nothing remains, when your walls come crashing down, trust. Your Creator is still in control. Don't doubt that whatever suffering and heartaches you harbor, God is in the midst of them. And let no one lead you astray from your singular purpose. God has brought you to this planet to birth new things, new kindness, new compassion, new faith, new love. Two years ago, Christmas Eve, I sat with a dying parishioner. You might remember him. His name was Richard Gessner. I remember kissing him goodbye and leaving the hospital room, and moments later hitting the ground floor and hearing Brahms' lullaby playing over the loudspeaker. Now, I've spent a lot of hours in a lot of hospitals, but I had no idea what was going on. So I stopped and asked, why is this song playing? And the woman replied, a baby was just born. And right then the phone rang. And it was a family member phoning to say he's gone. He's with God. And you know, I didn't think that was odd. That moment made total sense. One child of God heading up to heaven, one child floating down. Alpha and Omega, beginning and end, grief and joy, all mixed together. And within it all, God was there. Rainier Maria Rilke proclaimed, and now, let us welcome the new year, full of things that never were. As the church and calendar years draw to an end, and as holidays are about to begin as the old season mixes with the new, leaves and snow. We hear this gospel moment when Jesus knows the end is near. End times, as we all know, they shake us up. They force us to reassess what at heart matters. And at those moments, here is Christ's advice. Don't be led astray. Stay focused. Now's the time to wonder what walls need to fall in us. What patterns, practices, emotions need to go out so others can come in. Lord, in this church here and in our lives out there, may we endear ourselves and stay focused on you. So birth pangs of love can begin anew. Amen.